Are you attempting one bag travel or just wish you could reduce the size of your travel toiletries kit? My travel hacks will help you travel light and minimize your travel size toiletries. No more worrying about the 3-1-1 rule. Hello and welcome to Linky Lifestyle. I'm Mardi and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Together with my husband Michael, we love sharing our travel wisdom gained from years of exploring the world. Our aim is to help you plan holidays that are not just fun, but truly unforgettable. Now let me be honest, I'm not someone who travels with just a carry-on bag. I usually check a suitcase. However, over the last couple of years, I've been working hard to lighten our luggage, particularly when it comes to toiletries. You might be wondering why I'm so focused on packing light today. We're gearing up for a 6-week adventure in North America and Bermuda. We're incredibly excited. We'll be cruising from Montreal to New York, spending 2 weeks in New York City, and then enjoying a 7-day round-trip cruise to Bermuda before heading back home to Australia. But there's been a little twist that has influenced our packing strategy. Michael recently had a fall at home. He tripped over a step, nothing spectacular, and ended up dislocating his shoulder and fracturing the humerus in 2 places. Ouch! He's recovering now after surgery, but since he'll be in a sling until we depart and then have 6 months of recovery ahead of him after that, we need to keep our luggage light to make things easier for both of us. The bulk of our packing reduction starts with liquids. Most liquids pack a heavy punch due to their high water content. So, I want to pass on the benefits of my research to you. We'll cover the rules for taking liquids on board the plane, explore alternatives to liquids, discuss what to leave behind, and finally how to pack everything effectively. I'm Australian, but the TSA rules in the USA often come to mind when I think about onboard liquid regulations. Most countries have similar restrictions, but remember to check the specific regulations for the country you're visiting. For instance, the UK has different requirements for the size of the clear bags you put your liquids into. Leaving Australia on an international flight, the rules relate to powders, liquids, aerosols and gels. I won't go into details, but certain powders such as washing powder and salt need to be under 350 grams, but they don't have to be packed in a special bag. Liquids, aerosols and gels must be under 100 millilitres and packed in a Ziploc bag that measures 80 centimetres or less around the perimeter. All powder, liquid, aerosol and gel products must be taken out at security, and you can only have 1 bag per person. Now I've had good luck getting through without having to pull them out, but it's always best to follow the packing guidelines just in case. Flying in the USA, you have the 3-1-1 rule. Each product must be under 3.4 ounces, which is about 100 mils, be put in a bag that is 1 quart or less, which is just under a litre, and 1 bag is allowed per person. I've linked Australian and US information in the description below. I found them quite easily by searching Flying Liquids Australia and Flying Liquids USA, so do the same for the country you're visiting to ensure that you know what to do. Now we get to the tricky part. What actually counts as a liquid? Items like mascara and lipstick often cause confusion. A handy tip is to think about whether the product can hold its shape without a container at room temperature. Mascara would definitely be considered a liquid in that case, whereas a lipstick would not. Although lip gloss, yep, that's a liquid. Don't forget, there are exemptions for things like medications and baby food, but it's wise to check the regulations specific to the country you're visiting. Of course, none of this applies to liquids in checked-in bags, but if you're going to travel carry-on only, you'll need to have a really good understanding of the rules. Let's dive into an easy solution. Why bother with liquids when you can replace them with solid alternatives? Liquid products tend to be heavier, simply because they usually have a higher water content. For example, when I weighed a litre of milk, it clocked in at about 1 kilo. Meanwhile, the milk powder to make 1 litre weighed only 130 grams. You see the trend here, and you can see it by looking at the ingredients list on any product. The ingredients are listed from highest to lowest percentage, and the first one is nearly always aqua. That's water. Take shampoo for instance. I carry a mini shampoo bar instead of liquid shampoo when I travel. I've been using this bar for about 6 weeks of travel all up, and it's barely any smaller. I can still see the embossed pattern on it, which tells you just how little has been worn away. If I'd taken liquid shampoo, I would have used a fairly large bottle over the same period, and this whole bar must be worth at least 10 bottles. There are two more reasons I prefer non-liquid alternatives, and they don't actually relate to travel. One is environmental. Producing and transporting a shampoo bar instead of 10 bottles has a much lower impact on the environment. The second is frugality. It costs a whole lot less for that one bar instead of 10 bottles of shampoo. So at home I use a shampoo bar and toothpaste tablets and plan to replace other items as I run out of the liquid versions. Now, you might have stumbled upon other YouTube videos where some travellers have gone completely non-liquid with their toiletries. While I admire that approach, I've learned that there are some items that I prefer in liquid form, like body lotion for example. However, even if you switch out just a half or a quarter of your products, you're already making a substantial difference to your load. For my hair care, I use a full-sized thick shampoo bar at home. For travel, I have a travel-sized Super Zero shampoo bar. That one I just had in my hand before. Thanks Sephora for that gift with purchase, it's been very handy. I've been using the thick bar for about 18 months and I'd estimate it's just over half used. I wash my hair only twice a week because I'm super protective of my colour, and these two shampoo bars are gentle on my colour, so I'm happy to use them. Moving on to tooth care, I typically use Tabs toothpaste tablets with fluoride. Admittedly, when I travel I tend to take these mini tubes of liquid toothpaste simply because we've accumulated so many of them from international flights over the years. But once I use those up, I'll switch over to the tablets full time. Although I have to convert Michael first since he hasn't warmed up to that idea yet. I have some other substitutions that help too. I take a few hand sanitizer wipes, but I buy a small bottle of liquid sani when I arrive at my destination. Between us, we usually use it all up before we leave and then revert back to wipes until we get home. For a hydration boost, especially on long flights or if I'm feeling under the weather, I take hydration sachets. You just mix it up with a glass or bottle of water. And when it comes to makeup, instead of liquid concealer, I prefer using a pencil or a pan style product. And while you can find foundation in powder form, I don't particularly like how it feels on my skin, so I opt for a foundation stick. The Hourglass Vanish stick is good and it's cruelty free. For sheer coverage, I recommend Charlotte Tilbury's Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint Hydrating Foundation Stick. Why such a long name, Charlotte? I have a Kate Somerville eye balm in stick form, which I don't think is available anymore, but I like the look of the Tatcha serum stick, which can be used on the eyes. When it comes to deodorant, I prefer sticks, although they can be a bit bulky and harder to buy in Australia. For longer trips, I'll take a full stick, but for shorter trips, I tend to cut off a portion and pack it in a small pot. It's compact and easy to apply with my fingers. I take a lip balm stick instead of a pot or tube, and a compact solid perfume. Michael bought me this lovely diptyque one a couple of years ago, and it takes refills. If you're wondering whether there's a solid alternative to your usual liquid products, just do a quick Google search for product solid form and you might be surprised by what you find. And don't hesitate to share any recommendations you might have in the comments below. My goal in creating this video isn't to provide specific substitutes. It's really about helping you shift the way you think about your packing choices. For your convenience, I've included links to the products I've personally used or I'm considering trying out in the future in the description below. Do you think these tips will help with planning your next holiday? I genuinely love sharing my ideas here with the hope that they can assist someone out there. We're aiming to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so if you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button below. It lets us know that you're interested in what we're doing and it'll help our little channel grow and continue to offer advice like this. Now, as you check off your packing list while I'm sharing these tips, you might have noticed that I haven't covered every single item yet. There are 3 main reasons behind this. First, I still have quite a few products in liquid form that I want to completely use up before I consider replacing them with solid versions. For that reason, I haven't researched them yet, and I won't recommend anything without at least having read up on it. I always buy cruelty-free, and sometimes it can take a while to track down a suitable cruelty-free substitute. Secondly, there are items I'll probably never switch to non-liquid forms of. Things like eyebrow gel, liquid eyeliner, mascara, facial cleanser, eczema cream, hydrating masks, sunscreen, and hand cream, just to name a few. These products are essential for my routine, and I prefer sticking with what I know works for me. Finally, there are products that I simply don't pack, so it's worth re-evaluating whether you truly need them. For example, I used to rely on hairspray every day, but now I never use it. And you know what? I haven't noticed any difference in my hair. Of course, everyone's hair is different, but what I'm trying to say is think about if you really have to have a certain item. Perhaps stop using it at home and you might find that you don't need it. Then there's products you'll find at your hotel. I stay at reasonably good hotels and they usually have a nice brand of body wash or soap, hair conditioner and body lotion that I'm happy to use. I'd never use hotel shampoo though, no matter what the brand, because I'm really fussy about what I wash my hair with. But any conditioner is fine. If you haven't stayed in the hotel or been on that cruise line, before you go you might want to contact them to find out what they provide and what brand they use so you can pack accordingly. And when it comes to washing clothes and even makeup brushes, I don't pack any special detergents. I simply use the hotel's body wash or shampoo. For longer trips where I use proper laundry facilities, like that is a washing machine, I bring along laundry detergent sheets. I just put a couple in a Ziploc bag. I never use fabric softener or dryer sheets. They aren't really a thing in Australia, and did you know they actually ruin your clothes? Try giving them up. You'll save money and your clothes. All right, now you've got some solid ideas. It's time to get your packing list together and start preparing for your trip. Here's where we get down to the nitty-gritty of lightening your toiletry load. To begin, make a packing list and fine-tune it. A few years back, I went through a phase of having a 10-step skincare routine. Now I've simplified it down to 4 essential steps: cleanser, serum or treatment, eye cream, and moisturizer. Recent reading I've done suggests that our overly complicated skincare routines might actually be harming our skin. Think about what you use and what you really need on your skin to be comfortable on holiday. Ask yourself, can any products multitask? For instance, could you use a body lotion that also doubles as a hand cream? Or maybe a moisturizer that acts as an eye cream too? And on the flip side, although I like to keep things minimal, I'm not against bringing multiple of the same product if I feel like I need it in different locations. For example, I keep one face cleanser in the shower for mornings and a second one at the sink for nighttime. I know it goes against my minimalist packing mantra, but it works for me. Just keep the next part in mind so you don't end up with too much stuff. How much do you really need? Last year we spent 3 weeks in New York. I tried to keep my toiletries minimal, but I wasn't sure just how minimal I could go. So before I left, I wrote down all the products and the approximate quantities I was packing. When I got home, I wrote down the amounts I actually used and the replacement products I'd had to buy. This showed me what I needed for the 3 weeks. Now I can easily adjust my quantities for future trips with confidence. And to pack my products, I have a dedicated box full of little containers for decanting my toiletries into. Some are specially purchased, while others are the result of keeping pots from sample-sized products. Or my old favourite, the contact lens case. I make sure to label these containers with a Sharpie so I know what's inside. Bar products, like my shampoo, I put it into a mesh bag like this. These bags are amazing because they help the bar really lather up. You just use the bar while it's in the bag. And then I put them into this brilliant Matador flat pack soap bar case. It's like a mini dry bag for soap and it allows the soap to breathe and dry out without the moisture leaking out of the bag. Magic! I put all my bar products in the one Matador bag in separate mesh bags. If the bars are large, I just cut a piece off with a knife and leave most of the bar at home. And to hold everything, I use a Bag Smart toiletry bag. It's quite popular in the YouTube community, so I hesitated for a long time, thinking it was just another trend. Let me tell you, it's actually super useful. I designate different compartments. One for skincare, one for hair and body care, and a small section for odds and ends like travel nail clippers, a sewing kit, and even matches. They're handy for killing unpleasant toilet odours. The other smaller compartment gets the things that I put in the shower: cleanser, foot file, and scrub mitt, so they're easy to find when I want to jump in the shower when we arrive. It has enough space for Michael's items too, ensuring that we both have what we need. The outside compartment is plastic lined, so I put my hair towel in there. It's one of those microfiber ones. That way if I have to pack it up when it's wet, it won't make everything else wet. It can be bulky when it's packed full, but since all the individual compartments zip up, it can always be opened out for packing in the suitcase if it fits better that way. Then I have a small separate bag for makeup and another one for bedside items: lip balm, hand cream, prescription medications, pillow spray, and tissues. I keep that next to the bed and I don't have to unpack anything to have the things I need for a good night's sleep nearby. I end up with exactly what I need, and it's packed in a way that I can locate it when I need it. On a trip like the one we're going on soon, with 3 separate hotel stays and 2 cruises, it will make make packing and unpacking much easier. Bonus! Now that I've given you some things to think about when packing for your next holiday, you can learn about everything I take on board the plane when flying long haul here, or check out this playlist for all my travel hacks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and of course don't forget to subscribe to Linky Lifestyle for more travel tips and advice. Thanks again for watching and happy travels. I can't wait to hear about your adventures and how you pack light for your next trip. Until next time, bye for now.